Hello students, now we shall look at future worth comparison and also look at one numerical. This is and model 4 of management and economics, that is subject code 18 ME 51. So what is future worth method? We have already seen present worth method. So this future worth method is particularly useful in an investment situation where we need to compute the equivalent worth of a project at the end of its investment period rather than its beginning. So in the present worth, what we have seen, whatever investment we want to make, whatever revenues are involved, so what is the present worth of the project? But here in the future worth, we are not looking at the present worth, but we are looking at the future worth at the end of the investment period. So you can see the cash flow diagram here for future worth analysis. So P is the initial investment now. RJ is the net revenue at the end of the yth year, and S is the salvage value at the end of the nth year. So the formula for the future worth in the above cash flow diagram with the interest rate I is given as future worth at the rate interest rate I is minus P, because P is the investment, so now it becomes minus 1 plus I raised to n plus R1 in bracket 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. Similarly continues, and lastly you get Rj 1 plus I raised to n minus j plus Rn plus S. You can see in the above formula the expenditure is assigned with a negative sign and the revenues are assigned with a positive sign. So whatever incoming money is there, that is our revenue, this is positive. Whatever is outgoing is expenditure, that is negative. So how to make the selection when you are having a comparison of 2-3 proposals? So when you have to make one, select one out of the 2-3, then you will see the alternative with the maximum future worth amount. That should be positive and maximum. Then only you are going to consider that project or that alternative. Now to solve this future worth numericals, what you require? First you require the interest rate. At what interest rate? In the earlier we have seen that the I was the rate of interest. So first you need to determine the interest rates. Second is to estimate the service life of the project. What is the total life of the project? How long it will last? Suppose you take a motorcycle or a car for transport. Then what is the life? 15 years is the life. So this you have to consider. Then estimate the cash inflows for each period over the service life. So if you take a car for a taxi, then what is the cash inflows for the service life of say 15 years? Then what are the cash outflows? You have to put fuel for the car, you have to maintain the car, you have to pay for the driver. So these are all cash outflows. And then you can determine the net cash flows, that is inflows minus outflows. So for a single project evaluation which you want to select, the future worth should be greater than 0, then you can, the project is acceptable. Okay. If the future worth is less than 0, is negative, then reject the investment proposal. And if it is future worth is 0, then there is no need, remain indifferent with the investment. So this for mutually exclusive alternatives, the future worth cash flows can be calculated by two methods. One is revenue based future worth method, and second is a cost based future worth. Revenue means what we are going to earn. A generalized revenue dominated cash flow diagram to demonstrate the future worth method of comparison is presented in the figure. You can see. So P is the initial investment, then Rj is the net revenue at the end of the jth year, and S is the salvage value at the end of the nth year. So the formula again with the cash flow diagram, future worth at the rate of interest rate I is equal to minus P 1 plus I raised to n plus R1 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 plus R2 1 plus I raised to n minus 2 plus Rj 1 plus I n minus j plus Rn plus S. So again in this earlier, the expenditure is assigned with a negative sign and the revenues are assigned with a positive sign. And now comes cash flow diagrams for cost dominated future worth method. So here you can see again P is the initial investment, Cj is the cost of the operation and maintenance at the end of jth year, and S is the salvage value at the end of the nth year. So again here the same formula at the interest rate of I, future worth at the interest rate I is equal to P 1 plus I raised to n plus C1 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 plus C2 1 plus I raised to n minus 2 plus Cj 1 plus I raised to n minus j plus Cn plus S, where S is the salvage value. So you can see this numerical. Try to understand. There are two alternatives given here. The interest rate is given as 9.5%. So you have to find out which is the most economical alternative. Try to solve this problem. Okay. The next class we will see the numerical on future worth method. Hello students. Now we shall look at a numerical on future worth method. So a company owns a plot, premium plot. They have to decide which of the following alternatives to select in trying to obtain the desirable return on their investment. After much study and calculation, they decide the two best alternatives are as given below: to build a solar power plant or build a hydro power plant. Evaluate the alternatives based on the future worth method at interest rate of 12%. Now you can see there are two options. One is to build a solar power plant in that plot what they are having, or to build a hydro power plant. Okay, the first cost, my initial cost, whatever that investment is, that capital expenditure is 20 lakhs for solar plant and 36 lakhs for hydro plant. Then taxes, what you have to pay for a solar power plant, you have to pay 80,000 rupees tax annually. This is outgoing. Okay, the expenditure. And hydro power plant, you have 1.5 lakh rupees tax annually. Then annual income what you are getting is from solar power plant you get 8 lakh rupees income per year, whereas for hydro power plant you get 9,80,000 rupees income per year. The life of the land or the equipment life is 20 years for both solar as well as hydro power plant, and there is no scrap value. Okay, now we have to find out where the person has to invest money. If he wants to invest 20 lakhs, he can set up a solar power plant. To build a hydro power plant, he has to invest 36 lakhs. So out of these options, which is the better option? And this is calculated at the future worth by using a future worth method, and the interest rate is at 12%. Now, so let us see the alternative one, that is build solar power plant. The first cost is 20 lakhs, that is P. Okay, and the net annual income is annual income minus annual taxes, whatever we have to pay. So annual income was 8 lakh rupees and the annual property tax was 80,000 rupees. So the net annual income is 7,20,000 rupees per year, and the life is 20 years, and the interest rate is 12% compounded annually. So you can see the cash flow diagram. So from 0 to 20 we have drawn a line, 1, 2, 3, 4 like 20 up to 20. The 20 lakhs is the first investment we have shown bottom. There is expenditure, and the net revenue we have shown 7,20,000. This is the net revenue for 20 years. Now future worth at 12% interest rate is equal to minus 20,000, because we are investing 20 lakhs, because we are investing now in bracket F or P at the rate 12% for 20 years, plus revenue I am getting 7,20,000 rupees every year. So 7,20,000 rupees in bracket F bar A. A means every year I am getting annual equal annual amount. So A is the annual amount, that is 7,20,000 rupees I am getting at the rate of 12% interest for 20 years. So this F bar P 12% at 20 years and F bar A 12% at 20 for 20 years, you get the values as 9.646 and 72.052. This you multiply with this 20 lakhs and 7,20,000 rupees. So you get the value as 3 crore 25 lakhs 85,440. Okay. Now how this factor has come 9.646 and 72? Now we will see here. This annual payments ka 1 plus I, that is I is 12%, that is 0.12 year, raised to n is 20 years here, minus 1 divided by I, that is 0.12, you get as 72. This is what you are used, 72 for this 7,20,000 rupees what you are getting every year. Secondly, the future amount of the present amount, that is 20 lakhs what we are investing. F is equal to P in bracket 1 plus I raised to n. So here F by P is equal to 1 plus I, that is 1 plus 0.12 I, and n is 20, that becomes 9.646. You can calculate like this. Otherwise, you have got this compound interest factor chart. Please see this chart here. For this chart is for 12% interest. In the top left side as well as right side is written interest rate is 12%. Now come to the line n is equal to 20 years. You can see come to the n is equal to 20 years. First column. Now you can see F bar P. So find F when the P is given. Now I know P is 20 lakhs. Whatever I am investing today. So after 20 years, how much it will become? So I know the P. So the factor F is 9.646. I have put underline. You can see 9.646. So when single payment, that is single payment P I have given 20 lakhs now. So I have to have a compound amount factor. Okay. To find F, the factor is 9.646. Now the annually I am getting 7,20,000 rupees. So for after 20 years, what is the value of that 7,20,000 rupees every year for 20 years? Then this is uniform series, uniform payment series. Here compound amount factor, find F given A. So I know A is 7,20,000 rupees. So I have to find the F, compound amount factor. So that is 72.052. So you need not calculate this using the formula. You can directly take these charts with you in the during examination. These charts are allowed. So you can use these charts and use the values directly. Otherwise, it is better because only there are 3 formulas involved. You can also practice these formulas and remember them and reproduce in the examinations. So now next alternative is hydropower plant. So here the initial cost is 36 lakhs. So net annual income is annual income minus annual property tax. Annual income is 9,80,000 rupees. Property is 1,50,000 rupees per year. So the net annual income is 8,30,000 rupees every year for 20 years. Life is 20 years. The interest rate again I we have taken is 12% compounded annually. So the cash flow diagram you can see here from 0 to 20 years we have to put. So first investment P is 36 lakhs we have shown down, arrow down, and rest every year from 1 to 20 we are getting 8,30,000 rupees annually, and the interest rate is 12%. So again you can see the future worth of alternative is calculated minus 36 lakh because there is a initial investment, that is minus F bar P at the rate of 12% for 20 years plus 8,30,000 rupees I am getting every year. F bar A, because every year it is F bar A. One time investment is P. Okay, so I want to find out the future value for the annual amount 8,30,000 rupees at the rate of 12% interest and for 20 years. So the factors what we have seen you can calculate also. You will get 9.646 and 72, or you can get it directly from the chart. So this value is 2 crore 50 lakhs 77,562. So we can see the future worth of the alternative 1, that is 3 crores. You can see here 3 crores 25 lakhs is greater than this 2 crores 50 lakhs. Hence the future worth of alternative 1 is greater than that of the alternative 2. Thus building the solar power plant is the best alternative. This is how you use the future worth method. Either you calculate using the relationship what I have given here, F is equal to P 1 plus I raised to n, or for annuity payment you can 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 divided by I, using two relationship, or using the chart here single payment and uniform series payment, you can find out the factor directly. So this is a very simple way. Please try to solve this problem because it is not only there in your subject of management and economics, but also in module 2 of energy and environment also. Okay, thank you. Hello students. Now we shall look at annual equivalent worth comparison. We'll also see one numerical. This is a part of management and economics subject, that is 18 ME 51. Also a part of energy and environment subject, that is 17 ME 562, that is module 2. So what is this equivalent annual worth? We have already seen present worth method as well as future worth method for comparisons of various projects. This is equivalent annual worth comparison. There are various alternatives for comparing the worthiness of a project. Equivalent annual worth EAW is one important method for comparing engineering alternatives. In an annual worth method, all the receipts and disbursements occurring over a time period are converted into an equivalent uniform yearly amount. So every year when you have a project, you get some revenues, you have to make some expenditures. Okay, so receipts and disbursement over the life of the project, you will convert into one equivalent uniform yearly amount. EAW, equivalent annual worth, is a popular method because of year's profit and losses are taken into account. So it is like every year what is the income or receipts, disbursement, so what is the profits or what is the loss. A large number of engineering economic decisions are based on annual comparisons, and so the term equivalent uniform yearly amount is often used. So for large number of engineering economic decisions based on annual comparisons, this term is used. For example, cost accounting procedures, depreciation charges, tax calculations, etc. Okay, depreciation, just briefly I will tell you. Suppose you buy a bike paying 1 lakh rupees. So after 1 year, the value of the bike will not be 1 lakh, it will be somewhere lower than that, say some 80,000 rupees. So it gets depreciated every year. Okay, this is known as depreciation. Equivalent annual cost indicates that the equivalent value of negative cash flow for disbursement is greatly than the corresponding positive flow of receipts. Okay, one is you get receipts, means what are the inflows. Outflows are called as expenditures or disbursements. So when the expenditure is more and income is less, then it becomes more of a cost. The annual equivalent worth EAW can be computed by using the general formula. EAW is equal to like present worth at the interest rate I, 1 plus I into bracket 1 plus I raised to n divided by 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. So this is the formula for EAW, equivalent annual worth comparison. So here again you have what cash dominated, revenue dominated as well as cost dominated cash flow diagram. You can see the cash flow diagram which is shown here. So P is the initial investment, it is taken at the bottom because it is what we are spending now, investing now. And over the life of the project, say it is life is n years. So RJ is the net revenue. Net revenue means revenue minus expenditure for that particular year is called as net revenue for that particular year. S is the salvage value. Salvage value is scrap value. Suppose again I will give example. You take a bike for 1 lakh rupees now and use it for 15 years and then you want to sell it. So at that time the scrap value you may get some 5,000, 10,000 rupees. That is known as salvage value. End of the life of your bike, you have to scrap it up. The first step is to find the net present worth of the cash flow diagram using the following expressions for any given interest rate I. So again here interest rate is very important. For the given interest rate I, present worth I is equal to minus P. Minus P because the initial principal I am investing now. So that is outflow, that is minus. Plus R. R is the net revenue for that particular year. R in R1 1 plus I raised to n plus R2 1 plus I raised to 2 plus Rj 1 plus I raised to j plus Rn 1 plus I raised to n plus S in bracket 1 plus I raised to n. In the above formula, the expenditure is assigned with a negative sign and the revenues are assigned with a positive sign. So whatever expenditure is, outflows are there, they are negative, and whatever inflows are there or revenues, they are assigned as positive. In the second step, the annual equivalent revenue is computed using the following formula. So once you find out the present worth, and then using this formula, PW for the interest rate I, 1 plus I raised to n into I divided by 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. So this is the formula which we are using to find out the EAW, where A bar P, comma I, comma N is called equivalent payment series capital recovery factor. See, please understand, A means annual series, na? What we get, a equal payment series, that A, okay, and here P we know because we have invested initially, that is P, and I is the interest rate what we have taken into consideration, and N is the life of the period in years. If we have some more alternatives which are to be compared with this alternative, then the corresponding annual equivalent revenues are to be computed and compared. So you have 2-3 proposals, so you can find out this. For all these proposals, you find out the present worth, then you find out the equivalent annual worth, and then compare. Finally, the alternative with the maximum annual equivalent revenue should be selected as the best alternative. So if you have 2-3 alternatives, so the alternative which has got the positive and the highest value, that should be considered as the best alternative. One more is, we have seen revenue dominated, now we will see cash dominated EAW, equivalent annual worth. So you can see the cash flow diagram here. Here cash dominated means cost dominated means cash only is going, a lot of cost is involved, say something like safety devices which is statutory, mandatory by government, so you have to fix. Okay, now you can see the cash flow diagram here. Initial investment is P, it has got a life of n years, C1, C2, C3 to Cn, this is the cost. So P represents the initial investment, Cj is the net cost of operation and maintenance at the end of the jth year, and S is the salvage value at the end of the nth year. The first step is to find the net present worth of the cash flow diagram using the following relations at the interest rate I. So you can see here, then once you find out the present worth, this annual amount, equivalent annual worth is equal to PW, that is present worth at the interest rate I, 1 plus I raised to n into I divided by 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. Okay, the formula is same both for revenue model as well as the cost based model, where A bar P, comma I, comma N is called the equal payment series capital recovery factor. So these are the two methods, like cost dominated and revenue dominated, for finding out equivalent annual worth comparison. So you will come to know what is the worth of the project annually for the life, say 10 years or 20 years, whatever life is there. So whatever worth is there, that should be positive and high. Again, let's see the conditions for computing this equivalent annual worth. So first we should know the service life of the project N. Then you should also know the interest rate I. Then you should estimate the cash inflows and cash outflows for the service period. Okay, and then comparisons are made with before tax cash flows. And see here, everything is only tangible, whatever we can see and calculate, not intangible things. Okay, so and for accepting the alternatives, EAW should be greater than 0, then accept the proposal. If ERW is less than 0, then reject the proposal, and if it is equal to 0, then remain indifferent to the investment. So you can see again there is some numerical here. A person wants to buy a tractor. So there are two types of tractors, many types of tractors, but he has selected two here. So first cost is given here. Okay, then second cost also is given. So what is the annual operating cost, maintenance cost, labor cost is also given. Then replacement of tires at the end of so many years, that also given, because that comes under maintenance. And at the end finally the scrap value is also given. So life is given as 10 years. So now there are two proposals here. Okay, so which tractor you are going to buy? Okay, considering the interest rate, here interest rate is not given, you have to consider that interest rate, say 10% or 12%, then you find out which is the best proposal. Hello students, now we shall look at one problem. Two possible routes for laying a power line are under study. Data on the routes are as follows. So you have to lay a power line, means power cable. So there is a lake. So one thing is you can pass the power line around the lake, or you can take it underground, under the lake. Okay. So if you want to take around the lake, then it is almost 15 kilometers, but under the lake it is only 5 kilometers. The initial cost for around the lake is 1,50,000 per kilometer, whereas under the lake it is costly 7,50,000 rupees per kilometer. Useful life for both the projects around the lake as well as under the lake is 15 years. That is N. Maintenance cost, that is around the lake, is 6,000 rupees per kilometer per year, whereas under the lake it is 12,000 rupees per kilometer per year. And the scrap value after the life of 15 years is 90,000 rupees per kilometer for around the lake, and 1,50,000 rupees per kilometer for under the lake. And yearly power loss is 15,000 rupees per kilometer for both. If 15% interest is used, should the power line be routed around the lake or under the lake? So you have got two proposals to lay the cable. One is around the lake and the second is under the lake. If you take around the lake, it is a long distance, so it is almost 15 kilometers. If you take around the lake, it is only 5 kilometers. So the cost also around the lake is less, 1.5 lakhs per kilometer, whereas 7.5 lakh per kilometer under the lake. So now there are two proposals which you are going to select. Now let us see the how we are going to solve this problem. Now first we'll solve it by equivalent annual worth method. Okay. Now this is interest charge for 15%. Here interest he has given us 15%. So I have taken a photo of this 15% chart here. Okay. Now you can see 15% and 15 years. N is equal to 15 years. So I have put one underline, 0.0210. Okay. Now we will see what is this. So alternative 1, around the lake. So first cost is 1,50,000 rupees into 15 kilometers. That is 22,50,000 rupees. That is the initial cost. Then maintenance cost is 6,000 rupees per kilometer for 15 kilometers. That is 90,000 rupees per year. And the losses are also 15,000 rupees per kilometer into 15 kilometers, because initial around the lake it is long, 15 kilometers. So 15,000 rupees into 15 rupees per kilometer, it gives 2,25,000 rupees is a power loss per year. Okay, so the total maintenance cost and power loss, these are like loss only. So 90,000 rupees plus 2,25,000, it is 3,15,000 is a outflow, and the salvage value is 90,000 rupees per kilometer. For 15 kilometers it is 13,50,000 rupees. Okay, now we can see the cash flow diagram. So initially at this year 0, we are spending 22,50,000 rupees investment, because it is 1,50,000 rupees for and 15 kilometers. So 22,50,000 is the initial investment, that is P. Okay, and every year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 we are getting loss of 3,15,000 rupees. Okay, and the interest rate I is 15 years, and at the end of the service life of 15 years, the scrap value what I am getting is 13,50,000 rupees. Okay, that is shown as positive on the top. I think bottom it is wrong. It is not. The arrow should not be bottom. The arrow should be only on the top. 13,50,000 rupees. Bottom arrow is 3,15,000 only. Okay, this is the mistake here. Sorry. Now, so how you find out the annual equivalent cost expression? So 22,50,000 rupees is the initial cost. A bar P. Okay. Now I am going to find out the equivalent amount के लिए. A bar P for 15% at the rate of 15% interest for 15 years plus 3,15,000 rupees minus 13,50,000 rupees. This is A bar F at the rate of 15% interest for 15 years. So what will get? So now you can see this value. So by calculating for 15 years, n is equal to 15 years and percentage of interest is 15%, we get the annual equivalent value as 6,71,000 for the first proposal. Okay, that is around the lake. Now coming to under the lake, other proposal 2 or alternative 2. Here the first cost is 7,50,000 rupees per kilometer, but this is only 5 kilometers. So 7,50,000 into 5 is 37,50,000 rupees, the initial principal investment. Then maintenance cost per year is 12,000 rupees per kilometer. So we have to multiply it again 5, it is 60,000 rupees per year. Power losses is 15,000 rupees per kilometer into 5 kilometers, that is 75,000 rupees per year. So the maintenance cost and power loss per year is 60,000 plus 75,000, that is 1,35,000 rupees. And the salvage value, scrap value after the 15 years period is 1,50,000 rupees into 5, that is 7,50,000 rupees. So you can see the cash flow diagram for alternative 2. The initial cost 37,50,000 rupees we have spent. Then every year we are spending 1,35,000. This diagram is correct. You can see till 15th year we are spending 1,35,000, and in the 15th year when we scrap that, sell that as a salvage, you will get 7,50,000 rupees. So the annual equivalent cost expression here is at 15% interest rate is 37,50,000 rupees. A bar P 15% for 15 years plus 1,35,000 minus scrap value, that is 7,50,000 rupees. A bar F 15% at the for 15 years. So A bar P means this is only once investment. P is principal amount. I have to find out the equivalent amount. Then A bar F means this is scrap value what I am getting once only. For that I am converting this 7,15,000 into annual equivalent amount. Okay, that is A bar F. So solving this, you will get this formula as 7,60,500 rupees. So the annual equivalent cost of alternative 1 is less than that of alternative 2. Therefore, we will select the route to go around the lake for laying the power line, because that is cheaper. Okay, here there is here the in this problem you please understand. If you look at this problem, he is only talking about initial cost, maintenance cost, life, salvage value, but there is no revenue. It is only whatever we are investment. It is not on. It is a cost basis, like not on the cost dominated revenue, not on revenue dominated. It is cost dominated. So the cost should, whatever cost should be there, it should be the least. Okay, cost should be the least. So the least cost is for one only, item number 1, that is around the lake, and that cost is almost 6,71,000 per year, whereas under the lake it is 7,60,000 rupees. So 6,70,000 rupees what we are spending per year, it is better cost wise when compared to I am spending 7,60,000 every year for 15 years. So this is the way you calculate the annual equivalent cost expression, And again I'd like to say this factors whatever is given A bar F for 15 years and 15%, as well as A bar P 15%. This is this you can see the chart here. For you take the chart for 15 years, okay, sorry, 15% chart, and for 15 years you will get the values here, 0.0210, and even 0.07 also you will get here, but I think that is not coming in this. Okay, you can get this values from the chart and thus calculate the value. Okay, so this was on cost based, not revenue based. On the revenue based means revenue should be high, cost means cost should be low. Okay, this is the way you solve the problem. Hello students, now we shall look at one more method of comparing the various project proposals. Okay, engineering economic problems, like this is the payback comparison method. Very simple method it is, payback comparison method. This is it is a method used to obtain a rough time estimate. It is rough time estimate that an investment will start to pay for itself. Okay, so it's just a time estimate and a rough estimate. The formula is very simple here, you can see. Payback is equal to required investment, that is P, what we invest, divided by annual receipts minus annual disbursements. That is, if you simplify, payback is equal to first cost divided by net annual savings. Suppose, I will give an example. Suppose you buy a taxi for 5 lakh rupees. Okay, so initial investment is 5 lakh rupees. Okay, so and annual investment, suppose your receipts are 2 lakh rupees and you are spending 1 lakh rupees disbursement, that is for petrol or for maintenance, driver and all. So investment is 5 lakh rupees divided by annual receipt is 2 lakhs minus 1 lakh. So that is payback is equal to first cost, that is 5 lakhs, divided by net savings is 1 lakh rupees. So the payback period is 5 years. So if you buy a taxi for 5 lakh rupees and you are getting 2 lakh rupees every year annual receipts, and 1 lakh is the annual disbursement towards fuel and driver and all, then your payback period is only 5 years. So this is how you compare. This is a rough time estimate. Got it? So the payback comparison method avoids the need to calculate the cost of the capital. Here the time value of money is not considered, and the cost of the capital means cost of the capital means suppose you take a loan. I want some capital, say I want 10 lakh rupees. Okay, so I borrow it from bank. So it will involve cost, say interest, say 10%, 12%. That is not considered here. It recognizes the financial concern for limited resources, guards against unexpected price increases, and it calculates the requirement of a proposal to return its original investment from the savings they generate in a specified period of short duration. So this line is very important. This payback comparison method calculates the requirement of the proposal to return their original investment. So what that 5 lakhs, suppose you take up the taxi car 5 lakhs from the savings. So every year savings is 1 lakh, which they generate over a short period of duration. So investment is 5 lakhs, savings is 1 lakh, so it is 5 years. Payback period in terms of years. So the lower the payback period, it is better the proposal. Okay, so normally when engineering investments are made, we look for shorter payback periods. Okay. In the above relation, the data used are direct and no salvage values are included. So scrap value of the car we are not included. But it has got some drawbacks. The first drawback is it does not involve the time value of money, because money, whatever 1 lakh rupees you are getting this year is not equivalent to the 1 lakh rupees what you are getting after 5 years. So it ignores the time value of money. But the method is preferred only because it is very simple to calculate. I gave the example of a taxi for 5 lakh rupees annual receipt is 2 lakh, disbursement is 1 lakh, so net savings is 1 lakh. So payback period is 5 lakhs divided by 1 lakh, that is 5 years. Simple. So it is simple to make calculation. It ignores depreciation and interest rate, and by knowing the payback period, some funds can be allotted again to the desired project. So if I know that after 5 years I will get the money, so I can invest that money for the next project. So this is the simple explanation for payback period. And the payback period method addresses the problem of working capital management by attempting to protect a firm's liquidity position. When a firm is facing a financial crisis and has very limited capability of investing in new projects, an extremely short payback period, 6 months, etc., ensure that only such quick profit projects are preferred and recommended. Now this is very hypothetical. 6 months it doesn't happen. It takes almost years together. In such situations, cash availability may be more important than the total income. A shorter payback period will also guard against the chances of loss due to new technological developments. So there is always a technological obsolescence also. So suppose you buy some like even let us take taxi only. You buy taxi now. So maybe after 5 years you will get electrical taxis only, means and at this same rate. So if you get the payback within 5 years, it is better, so that you can next you can invest in the new technologies. Okay, this was about the payback period method. Hello students, now having seen the payback period, now we will see a numerical on that. Following are the estimates of 3 alternatives investments made on 2 different machines in a industry. Okay, find out which machine has the fastest payback period. Like the 2 machines, machine A and machine B. The initial investment is in machine A 30,000 rupees, in other machine B it is 42,000 rupees. The annual receipts for machine A is 20,000 rupees and 26,000 rupees for machine B. The annual expenditure for machine A is 5,500 rupees and machine B is 7,000 rupees. And the economic life of both the machines are 4 years. Now which has got the faster payback, we have to find out. So let us calculate for machine A. So initial investment is 30,000 rupees, annual receipts is 20,000 rupees, annual expenditure is 5,500 rupees. Okay, so that life is not important because we are not going to use that information, and we are not going to use even I, if they are given interest rate also, that is also redundant information which is not required for calculation. Payback period is equal to required investment divided by annual receipts minus annual expenditure, P divided by R minus C. So P is 30,000 rupees, annual receipts R is 20,000 rupees, annual expenditure C is 5,500 rupees. So if you 20,000 minus, I think that minus is missing, please put that minus. So you get that payback period is 2.06 years. Now machine B, P is 42,000 rupees, R is 26,000 rupees, cost is expenditure is 6,500 rupees. So payback period is equal to P divided by R minus C, that is 42,000 divided by 26,000 minus 7,000, that is 2.21 years. Now you can see in the machine A, whatever amount 30,000 rupees you are investing, that you are getting in 2 years, 0.606 years. For as machine B, whatever 42,000 rupees you are investing, P, that you are getting it 2.21 years. So the least one is A. Hence we will go for investment in the machine A. You can see the problem here once again. So whichever the machine has got the lowest, equipment has got the lowest or the fastest payback, that we will consider. And in this case, it is machine A. The formula is very simple. Payback period is a rough estimate in number of years. That is P divided by R minus C. P is the initial investment, R is the total income or receipts, C is the expenditure every year. R and C are annual expenditure, annual receipts. Okay, this is a very simple way of calculating, and this is used because you are not calculating any salvage value, you are not considering interest rate, you are not considering life. It is a very thumb rule, simple calculation. Thank you. Hello students, now we shall look at the rate of return. Okay, how much returns I am getting. In terms, this rate of return is in terms of interest, like percentage of interest, what returns I am getting. So again, this is under module 4 of management and economics, that is 18 ME 51. So the rate of return technique is one of the methods used in selecting an alternative for a project. In this method, the interest rate per interest period is determined, which equates the equivalent worth, either present worth, future worth, or annual worth of cash outflows, that is cost or expenditures, to that of cash inflows, that is incomes or revenues of an alternative. So basically what happens in any project, we want to make investment, there will be income, that is revenues, and there will be expenditure, that is outflows. Okay. So this rate of return method, it is finding out the interest rate for the interest period, and which equates, how it is done, it equates the equivalent worth, whether it is present worth, future worth, or annual worth of the cash outflows to that of the cash inflows. So three types of return appear frequently in engineering economic studies. One is minimum acceptable rate of return, MARR, minimum acceptable rate of return. So it is a rate set by the organization to designate the lowest level of return that makes an investment acceptable. Suppose you want to invest some money, industry wants to invest, say they expect some 12% returns. So minimum, that is known as MAR, that is minimum acceptable rate of return. And there is a concept called IRR, internal rate of return. It is a rate on the unrecovered balance of the investment in a situation where the terminal balance is 0. So this is very popular actually. IRR, internal rate of return, is very popular because here they take the terminal balance is 0, and here it is a discount rate at which NPV stands for net present value, is 0. So what is the rate of return I am getting when the NPV is 0 and the terminal balance is 0? We will see this in our next slides. And then the third one is external rate of return. It is a rate of return that is possible to obtain an investment under the current economic conditions. Okay. So minimum acceptable rate of return is also known as the minimum attractive rate of return, is a lower limit for investment acceptability set by organizations or individuals, because the resources are very limited, like money. So we want to use it judiciously, and we should get certain, like I said, 12%. So if I get that much, then only I am going to invest in the proposal. Otherwise, I am not going to invest in the project or proposal. So this is a minimal acceptable rate of return. Now the internal rate of return is the best known and most widely used rate of return methods. It is also known as the true rate of return method and the discounted cash flow method. This is also known as the discounted cash flow method. The internal rate of return, represented by I in the traditional interpretation of interest rates, is the rate of interest earned by an alternative investment on the unrecovered balance of an investment. The internal rate of return can be calculated by equating the annual, present, or future worth of cash flows to 0 and solving for the interest rate that allows the equality. So here in the IRR, internal rate of return, the present worth, whether it is annual worth, present worth, or future worth, we will consider it as 0, and then we will solve for get the rate of interest what I am going to get. It should be added that solving for the interest rate in this manner results in a polynomial equation, that is a function of I, which may result in multiple roots of the equation. In such cases, the IRR may or may not be one of the equation roots. Although both the EAW, equivalent annual worth, and future worth approaches are legitimate, the rate of return is often defined in terms of present worth under the constraints of possible I roots, where the IRR is, see, you can calculate the IRR based on EAW as well as FW, but most probably it is used with present worth method only. Okay. where I is the interest rate at which the present worth of the cash flow of the project is 0, or to restate in another way, the rate at which when employed in computing the present worth of all costs and present worth of all returns will make them equal. So here, when we consider this present worth for finding out the IRR, internal rate of return, so that IRR is the interest rate at which the present worth of all the cash flows of a project is 0. Okay, or you can in other words, when the rate at which when employed in computing the present worth of all costs and present worths of all returns will make them equal. Because rate of return computations usually begin with a problem expressed in terms of present worth or annual worth, it is necessary to pay attention to the guidelines of EAW and PW methods. So this is a very good method. See, in briefly I'll tell you one thing. Suppose again we will take a proposal of you say a taxi only. You are buying a taxi for 5 lakh rupees. So there are some costs and you can find out the present worth. There are 2-3 proposals. So one taxi may cost you 5 lakhs, luxury sedan may cost you 10 lakhs. Okay, then ekdam saloon, super saloon, that may cost you some 25 lakhs, or SUV may cost some 25 lakhs. So now, what is how we are going to calculate, compare the 3 proposals? So we will see that we will find out the present worth. Okay, as it discussed here, the present worth is the most suitable method of finding out. And in the present worth, we are finding that the net present value NPV is 0. Okay, we will make the NPV, net present value of the project, at 0, and then we will find out the value of I. We are going to find out the value of I. IRR is nothing but it is the interest rate. Okay, so we will go to find out the value of I when the NPV is 0. So suppose 5 lakhs taxi you are getting the IRR as 18%. 10 lakhs ka sedan taxi you are getting the interest rate as 16%. And if you take a SUV, the IRR you are getting as 14%. So the best is 5 lakh rupees, which is giving a IRR of 18%. So you'll always consider that proposal which has the highest internal rate of return. And this process is also known as discounted cash flow technique, and is used to find out the maximum interest rate which you can attain for the proposal. Thank you.